Lockdown means that everything you can't go to except the parks. You can only go to the parks. You can't go with your friends because you might get corona because of them, but at school you got all washing stuff, so you're allowed to be near your friends there, but at the park there's no like hand sanitizers. But if you want to take your friends at the park, take some hand sanitizer, but don't share it because they don't need any, but you need some.
My name's Leigh Branson, I'm 34 and I'm a clinical support worker at the hospital. For me, it's been a mixture of things really. I've almost become accustomed to not meeting friends, family and things like that. Almost feel a bit anxious about things opening up again. Yeah, to begin with it was strange, you know, not being able to go out, do things, socially distancing. But like I said, I've almost become used to it now. For example, you know, if I was ever queuing in a shop before now, you're aware of people's surroundings and not getting too close. But more so now, I almost get a bit, I'm always looking over my shoulder thinking, oh, you're getting a bit close, lady, you know, back up a bit. And yeah, I do definitely think, and silly things like, you know, the times that you do want to nip to the pub on an afternoon when we're open again. I was actually talking to one of my neighbours over the road about it, and I was thinking, like, what do you drink? How do you stand with a drink? Is it acceptable to ask somebody if you can take up that spare seat? Or, like, how do you behave? Like, how am I going to behave socially now? It's not something I've ever had to think about, but now it's on my mind a little bit almost. My granddad was ill during lockdown. His health's been deteriorating for a while, but he had to go into a home, which obviously with restrictions and closures of care settings and hospitals, it just diminished over the months. And there was a time when maybe a week passed and we couldn't see him, and that was very difficult. I never really understood mental health till before this, and I think I can speak on behalf of a few key workers, particularly some of my colleagues, that I think have experienced a bit of mental health during this pandemic. Work's been difficult, the amount of death I've seen. You know, you go to work, you come home, you clean, you eat, you sleep, and you get up, and that's been that for months. Obviously, I've still done stuff with my daughter and my husband, gone to the park and gone out with the dog. But I must admit, there has been a few days where I have had a bit of mum guilt because I just haven't got the oomph. Just feel worn out with everything. And I think during this pandemic, I've learnt just to give people space and take a step back and think, if they're not the usual bright, bubbly self or they don't seem happy, just to accept that there's perhaps a reason behind it rather than just presuming that they're just a miserable so-and-so. I think there's been some positives to come out of lockdown. I think I've learnt to appreciate people a little bit more with regards to, you know, obviously I talk to my friends on the phone a lot, but I've come to realise, maybe I I didn't know that I took a friendship for granted now and again before. So I appreciate things like that a lot more now. Well, I know that they're rolling out the vaccine at the moment, which, you know, people having an opinion on. I don't want to be that Karen, but I find I can't see things going back to any normality soon. I think we'll be continue to wear masks, queuing, social distancing. I think schools will forever be up and down, so I can't see it changing anytime soon. I'm a key worker, so fortunately on this lockdown 3, my daughter's been at school. She didn't on the 1st and the 2nd as her dad was furloughed. So we took the decision to free that place up for another key working child. I do have nieces and nephews, so my niece has only just gone back to school and my sister's found it very difficult. I think she's had one more bottle of wine a week than usual. And also her daughter, my niece as well, she was anxious about going back to school. She was apprehensive. There was a lot of tears in the first week of her going back. I think she's settled all right now. But I think it's been quite detrimental to children's mental health and well-being. The one thing, and it might sound unpopular, that I feel about the lockdown is that there's two sides, isn't there? So you lift everything and things go back to some sort of normality. The R rate goes up and we're in again. But I'm beginning to think as the days go by is live and let live. You know, perhaps continue with the mask wearing, the hand washing, the distancing to a certain extent, because we're going to have to get back to some sort of normality. And I think, you know, it feels like tomorrow's never coming. I've read things around, there's a lot of conspiracy theories saying that COVID isn't real. I can hand on heart say it is real. I've seen a lot of death over the last 12, 18 months. Young people, old people, colour, creed, religion, background. It's non-discriminatory. I myself had an antibody test which showed I had antibodies, which in turn mean I had COVID-19. According to what Boris said right at the beginning, I should be pushing up daisies now because I'm a type 1 diabetic with an autoimmune disease. And what do you know, I'm here doing this interview now. I've been proud to work for the NHS, very proud. I think everyone that does work for the NHS would say we were merely doing our jobs. You know, we appreciated all the clapping and everything we got. It was pretty overwhelming at times. Yes, I get paid for the job I do. I don't expect any more. I think the only thing, you know, I can't speak on behalf of other people, but I will for myself, is that perhaps in the last 6 months, I feel we've become almost, you know, it was clap for heroes 12 months ago, and I just feel, not from everybody, but a bit like now, you know, just shut up and get on with your job a little bit. And we do still face quite a lot of difficulties at work.